has made another one. You already know the thing. So, next topic we're gonna get into, I'm gonna spin the block again on the little DURK trial over them sides in America. So, looks like OTF Jam is taking a stand again for the second time. And it looks like Brownin still, he's obviously got to cross-examine him on the stand. So let's see what he's saying. Let's get straight into the update, man. Big up Trap Law Ross each and every time, bro. Let's go.
Okay, so one of the alleged lies that apparently was told by OTF Jam that was getting called out by Brownin Steele apparently related to his family and the fact that he claimed that he was given help. Now, I told you guys earlier that OTF Jam said something where he was kind of probably trying to elicit a little bit of sympathy, where he basically said that he became the man of the house at 12, same age that he started doing shootings, and that he basically, you know, was putting food on the table. He was robbing people. He said that he was an armed robber, he said he was an armed robber, not a strong arm robber. And at some points, things got so real for him and his family, he had to literally stick people up with guns for food, okay? Well, Brownin Steele and them kind of clapped back, and they basically, look, I was 15 minutes late. There was a lot of...
Yeah, that's kind of wild, still robbing people for food, you know. Not even shops. Like, you went to rob people for their kitchen. It's a bit mad still, but let's keep it going.
Difficulty getting the media into the room, but we got into the room 15 minutes. So I didn't see how the prosecution's, examination of Jam ended. But what we did see is I basically walked in there and Brownin was already on his ass, all right? He was already putting belt to ass. And the first thing I heard was Brownin Steele say, hey, you never really supported your family, did you? Jam said, hey, if my mom was here, she would tell you. And then basically there were a bunch of sidebars, and what was crazy, something was going on, something improper had been said, they weren't happy about it, and there was a bunch of sidebars. What was crazy, I'm not gonna lie, Jam laughed, he was laughing and shaking his head. People were talking about he was shaking his head before, I see that, but people were acting like he was shaking his head like, man, I can't believe I'm telling. Nah, he was laughing, shaking his head, looking at DURK. Him and DURK were looking at each other, smiling at each other, low-key on some like, yeah, I got you, like, hey, we're gonna see, my lawyer finna beat your ass on the stand. And what was...
Yeah, that's mad. I know, we all know DURK is heartbroken, literally, at his peak. Got a man like Jam that he was helping out from jail. I'm taking a stand against you. But I did watch, it was a long breakdown, it was a DJ Academics one, and to be fair, he broke it down kind of mad. Jam never got paid for this, so obviously this is all going to come out, but yeah, he didn't really get directly paid from it, so obviously he's expecting some sort of payment. You're seeing DURK out here flossing jewelry, money, doing all these flights, doing bare stuff, and you're just there, just broke in the hood. It's just a bit mad, but let's keep it going.
What was basically crazy is that Brownin Steele was forced to move on, but we actually heard at the end of the day, after the jury had left the room, apparently Brownin Steele is trying to get some information across that the prosecution are having an issue with, but Brownin Steele allegedly and the defense, they're trying to basically make this case that apparently Jam's family hate him. Apparently, like, he's hated by his family, none of them are here. The judge was like, look, we don't want to be over here talking about like why his family aren't in the court. It's not really fair to say, why aren't your family in the court? You know, there's multiple reasons they could be there. They could be scared. They could be, you know, not there because, you know, they feel like it's too far to travel to California. They could be sick. So them not being there doesn't say anything, but it's like...
Yeah, but it kind of is, obviously. Why is no one that you know representing you, no one there? It is a bit mad. But then again, it could be broke, man. I have the money to travel down there. It could be anything. So it's true. It's true that it's good that they can't use it because it could be any reason, innit? But it does look a bit sus though at the same time. Let's keep it going.
Like, trying to make this case that Jam's family hate him is going to be difficult. So that kind of wasn't allowed, but it sounds like that might come back. They might find another way to attack Jam's character, but literally from the get-go, they were putting belt to ass, and Jam was laughing, shaking his head, looking over at DURK. They were looking at each other. That was wild, but there was a lot more, and Jam went back and forth with Brownin Steele. Brownin Steele beat him up a little bit, and then Jam kind of hit him back. It was crazy. So stay tuned for more updates. I've got a lot more coming. So Brownin Steele went down a pretty predictable path of trying to attack OTF Jam today. It didn't quite go his way, but he definitely did make a good point. One of the most obvious things that we knew we was going to hear regarding Jam was obviously his cooperation. Now, he's copped out to 3 murders, and, you know, obviously he is expecting something in exchange for cooperating and, you know, trying to help put DURK away. Now, Brownin Steele said, you're testifying under an agreement, right? You hope to be released. And then Jam was basically like, not released, I'm looking for something. And then Brownin Steele's like, do you want to be incarcerated? He said, look, you do the crime, you do the time, I just don't want the rest of my life though. He basically
just done 12 years, you know, like, you think he's trying to come out for a bit and then go back for life. Like, that's a bit mad, especially it was a botched hit. Like, the way that it's coming out, it was just sounding all mad. But let's keep it going.
He said, I want to be free at some point, and he would refuse to say that he was expecting a specific amount of time. He basically just said, look, I want numbers, I don't want my whole life. And Brian Steele was hitting him back. He said, hey,
he might well get 20 years. Like, that's mad, 20 years, you know.
hey, well, I heard that you told one of your loved ones that you only expect to serve 18 months. And Jam was like, someone I love? What? Who are you talking about? He said, you told your wife on a jail call you was only expecting to be in there for 18 months and you're going to be in home for for one of your kids' birthdays. And he basically said, I don't remember saying that. I don't know what you're talking about. And it was interesting because it's like, I thought Brian Steele was about to introduce some evidence to that, but then he didn't. He kind of moved on. But then he continued on talking. I'm not going to lie. I think he was striking fear into the hearts of the jury. The idea that this guy who allegedly, not even allegedly, he's admitted to catching 3 bodies, might just be back out here on the streets. But it was basically made clear that he wasn't planning, he wasn't expecting to be out soon. Brian Steele was saying, what, you thought you could manipulate your way to get out of custody? You've been in and out of custody your whole life. You understand the criminal system. You're street smart. He said, I'm street smart, but I never said I understood the criminal system. So another thing that Brian Steele said, he said to Jam, he said, look, now you're on the witness stand, you're hoping you'll get back on the street. Apparently Jam said, yeah, I guess. And they said, well, you're the reason why DURK's in court. And after that, he basically said, well, no, I just told the truth. Brian Steele said the truth's going to be decided by the public or the jury. And then he said, you're begging and hoping for a guilty verdict on DURK so that you can get out. Jam clapped back. He said, no, I'm not. I'm just here admitting my side and being honest. Brian Steele said, you want to go home?
Yeah, so he's basically trying to attack his credibility of, a story, innit? Basically, you're just saying all of this for a get out of jail free card to eventually get out because you know this stuff carries life. So you're just basically saying this to save your own skin. But he's basically saying, nah, this is just what happened. He's saying that he felt bad for Little Pub. He felt bad for the victim that got killed. Bro, what about the man that blew his brains out when he was 17? You didn't feel bad for him. What about the other M that we don't even know about yet? You feel bad for him. So obviously there's more stuff to come out, man. Let's keep going.
Jam said, look, I just want a number. I want to go home at some point. Brian Steele said, you want to go home immediately. You realize what you did? You were on this crazy mission to do murder and you're trying to get out of it. So look, to be honest, I feel like it was kind of very interesting. I feel like maybe Brian Steele thought that it was going to land harder. This whole thing of like, you're just cooperating to get out of this. But look, Jam was prepared. Jam was coming a lot more prepared than YSL Woody when it came to this questioning. Jam seemed to basically be arguing, look, I'm not expecting to get any specific amount of time. And there was even mentioned afterwards, I think there was one point where Jam actually said, look, like, judge could give me life if he wants to. Like, I don't know. I've not got any agreement. And so it's going to be very interesting to see what he ends up getting. Apparently, he might still get some time off, even if DURK doesn't get convicted. So that was Brian Steele's angle. I don't think it necessarily landed perfectly, but like it was interesting. So there was a crazy moment in court when Brian Steele was cross-examining OTF Jam, and Brian Steele was definitely putting in some work. He was really doing his best to trash Jam's character, and he got off some very interesting points. He obviously got him to, retell the situation where he had allegedly done like hundreds of armed robberies, over 100 armed robberies. And he basically very dramatically retold the story of OTF Jam's first alleged body when he was 17. He basically said, and it was very interesting. He was talking about, you do armed robbery, you take advantage of situations for your benefit. Jam said, you got to explain what you mean a bit better. It's so funny because then Brian Steele said, well, look, you might want to take my watch. And then Jam said, I never stole a watch in my life. You just made up a story. What are you talking about? So OTF Jam was a lot more feisty on the stand than other people that we've seen. But Brian Steele basically told the story very dramatically. Obviously, he's very good at telling stories and building a narrative. He said at 17, you went to a store, you locked the door, you trapped your victim with you and your armed friend. Jam clapped back. He said, nah, it was only me that was armed. He said you had your gun loaded. You didn't know if the person in there had a family. You knew nothing. You just wanted to get what you wanted. And he said that when that clerk didn't want to be under your control, what did you do? Jam said, I killed him. And Brian Steele said, not just that, you blew his brains out. That was
mad thing. Yeah, that's a mad thing still. This is what I'm saying, like, bring up this part, man. What's he saying?
Very, very dramatic, but obviously I see what he's trying to explain. Now, Brian Steele said when you blew his brains out, Jam said, yeah, I blew his brains out. When Brian Steele went on, he said, did the brains get all over you and the gun? And Jam went, well, no, that's not what happened. So Brian's still painting this picture, and Jam kind of like, bro, that's not.
He's trying to paint it mad to just basically say, like, bro, he's a mad youth. How is he going to have sympathy over here when you just basically admitted to, you know, collassing a man, blowing his brains out. Why for that? But yeah, literally, he is kind of breaking him down a bit. Like, you feel bad for this one, but you don't feel bad for that one. And the way he broke it down, you don't really know that one like that either. So, you know, he's basically trying to say you're only saying this to because you got caught and now you're trying to get out of it. I honestly don't know how DURK's gonna beat this, but he's got two of the best lawyers there, so you know, let's just see how it goes. Let's keep it going.
How it went down. There wasn't no brains on me and the gun. Like, that's crazy. But then Brian still said that's what you do. After he said you blow people's brains out, that's what you do. Jam said, well, that's just your opinion. And he said you let him lay and linger. And Jam was like, what, you trying to say I didn't do CPR? But Brian still, he basically said you slaughtered a human, you took his property, and he drove back to Chicago and bragged. And Jam said, I didn't brag about it. Brian said, you thought about it? Jam said, I actually did. They said, what did you do about it? And he said, I thought about it and I called a gang meeting. They said, you ever meet with the victim's family? He said, nah. Brian still said, you just went on with your life. It didn't bother you. And he said, no, it did bother me. That's why I called a gang meeting. But then that was dramatically followed by him saying, you killed other people. Jam said, who? He said, Lil Dean. Jam said, you know I didn't murder him, right? And then suddenly there was a sidebar. That kind of kicked off a whole fury in the courtroom. There was then a private conversation. After that, it was made clear, basically they went back and forth. And Jam said this was a kidnap resulting in death. I pled guilty, but I didn't pull the gun. I didn't kill him. I didn't even see him get shot. And later on, Brian still asked him about the Lil Pab incident and basically said, you flew out there, you didn't know, but when you were told in Hooters that you were going to kill Quando, you went along with it. Brian still said, murder is in your heart. It was crazy. And Jam laughed and he just went, no, it's not. And Brian said, you don't.
Yeah, nah, it's kind of mad still. Listen, remember these people in the jury as well. They're just like working class people. They don't know none of this. When they hear, bro, he blew his brains out, killed 3 people, and he's like, no, I'm not, man, I'm not a killer. They're just thinking, they're looking at him like, bro, this is madness. Like, you got to remember, these are working class people that you're speaking in front of, you know. This is why it's so techie right now. But do you know what? Let's keep it going for a second. And there's another video I want to get into from academics because he breaks it down kind of mad. Let's keep it going.
Don't care who you hurt. He said, yes, I do. So Jam's saying that he got hurt even though he got 3 bodies. And, you know, he's still out here. All right, so look, one of the interesting things that came up was kind of this big argument that OTF Jam was trying to make, that he didn't really want to murder Quando Rondo. Obviously, it ended up killing Lil Pab. That he didn't really want to do it. He didn't get told until he landed in California that that's what they were there for. That's the purpose that they were there for. And he kept making this argument that, like, if I didn't go along with it, where I'm from, if you stop someone killing someone, that gets you killed. Now, Brian still had a lot to say about that.
Yeah, and I bet he did, man. But we'll get into all of that still, literally. We'll get into that.
He's saying that the facts don't really match up. He's saying that you didn't backtrack. You didn't try and stop. You had no hesitation. You landed in California, got told the plan, and your to-do list was one thing, murder. And it was interesting because he was like, look, you only even opened up and kind of, you know, cooperated about this when you got arrested for a gun and you was trying to get out that jam. He was saying you didn't self-surrender. Your guilty conscience didn't get the better of you and cause you to walk into a police station. And he basically went on to say you didn't try and stop it. He said, I texted Dee Dee. I was trying to stop it. I didn't say stop it, but I was trying to say it's too hot. These guys ain't prepared. We don't know these guys like that. And basically, they're saying, why didn't you stop it? You're meant to be a high-ranking BD minister. You're the highest, most dangerous rank that you can possibly be. Jam clapped back. He said, look, not every minister is dangerous. And then Brian still was like, well, you're dangerous. And then Jam was just like, not all ministers are dangerous. And Brian still said, well, if you texted Dee Dee a bunch of stuff trying to stop the murder, where are those texts? Why can't you show it? He said, I can't. So I don't have my phone. I don't have them texts. And then...
Yeah, nah, it's a bit mad. I'm not going to lie. Brian's kind of cooking. Brian's kind of cooking still. Let's keep it going.
And Brian said, well, as a BD minister, you could have given the gun back and walked away. Jam said it's not that easy. Obviously, he said...
Nah, big up Trap Loros each and every time, man. But the video's cracking on. I don't want to make it too long. I do want to get into this next one. Because DJ Academics, he actually has a decent breakdown of the whole thing. So let me see if I can load up DJ Academics breakdown, man. Big up Academics as well, man.
actually finessed all of the hitmen, allegedly, out of any money. So we heard yesterday that there was a conversation in a studio.
Now, I don't think Dirk finessed him. You know what I'm starting to think? Bro, I'm going to keep it a bean with you, bro. Listen, I'm going to say some shit. Again, I got the free Dirk t-shirt. You know, I love Dirk. But it's not even a Dirk thing. It's just one of them. Yo, Dirk power over these dirty-ass niggas is that they're fucking broke. Them type of niggas you give breadcrumbs to. You never give the whole loaf of bread. Remember that. You give breadcrumbs to. You never give them the whole loaf of bread. You know why you give them breadcrumbs? Because them niggas is go to the fucking mall and spend it and blow it, and they be right back up onto you willing to do any and everything to get a little bit more breadcrumbs. He ain't giving none of these dirty-ass niggas no $500,000, no $1 million. You think a nigga's gonna get $1 million and still doing bruv, them niggas not gonna move their family out to the rack. Fuck out of here. I think that 10,000, you got listen, that's not in the music industry. You don't get paid to be in a music video, bro. He got that 10 bands. That's your payment, gang. I think Dirk was probably on some shit like, nigga, I'm gonna throw you some breadcrumbs through the music and shit like that where I could hide it, but nigga, that $500,000 y'all was talking about, first of all, Dirk never agreed to no $500,000. Bro, Pooh Shiesty gave his shooters $5,000. You think Dirk was giving these dirty niggas like, yo, Dirk is not giving these dirty, yo, a dirty nigga like OTF Jam nigga? You think he giving him $500,000, bro?
No, it's true. It's true, literally. Plus, how you gonna just give him $500,000? Literally in cash. You know they're just gonna flaunt that all over online. Just bare money signs, bare spelling out your name in cash. Boom, right there. How you got all this bread? So it's just too bait. Literally, but no way he's giving $500,000, bro. No one's doing that.
You know what he was gonna do? All right, let's say even give that nigga $100K. Here's 10 here. I bet we go to Miami. Yo, here's 5 here. We about to go to the club. I bet. Yo, I sent you 2,500. Your baby mama complain. Nigga, you gonna get that over time, gang. You getting that shit over time. That's why he said I'm gonna like you good for life. Like nigga, I'm not giving you one lump sum of $500,000.
And he put him on the song. Put him on what the federal freestyle song. The worst thing is he done the video for it. But OTF Jam don't even have his own channel. It's on Duty Low's channel. Like he's not prepared for this music thing. He's not prepared to do none of that. He just trust me. Like it's even I can see it. Literally, if I can see it, then come on, man. What do you think these feds are seeing? Like you set him up quickly, put him on a song. Oh yeah, he got paid from the song, bro. Come on, man. Let's keep it going. This was sloppy. This hit was sloppy. The whole job was sloppy, bro. He just wanted it done quick, and it was out of town. That's where he messed up. That's what I believe. God, Dirk allegedly has been, putting people on the ground in Chicago, like putting stuff down in Chicago, bro. So allegedly, but when it's out of town and you get these out of town shooters, it's sloppy. Let's keep it going.
Come on, bro. Nigga, them niggas went and go kill Stephon Mack. Dirk brought $1 million and put it on the table, nigga, for $1 million worth of game. They thought they was getting $90,000, bro. They left with $20,000, allegedly. The nigga had $1 million on the table. He could have easily paid y'all niggas off. Yo, here's that 90, man. Yo, pay you another nigga. Man, get the fuck on out of here, nigga. Get that nigga 20. Yo, these shooters are delusional. Ain't nobody giving you $1 million. You gonna end up looking like the dummy. Look. Dirk $1 million worth of game. When you look in this video chat, you gotta look at the podcast. Let me play the podcast. When you play this podcast chat, all these niggas in shiesty behind them. No disrespect to them. Half of these dirty niggas, bro. These niggas don't got nothing but the lint in their pocket, bro. No disrespect to them, bro. Don't try to kill me. Dirk not here no more. Please don't do it.
Yeah. Look.
Nigga, I ain't gonna lie to you. And again, I got my free Dirk t-shirt. So this is my shield.
I know they're just watching the bread. They're watching that bread, bro. They trust me. Literally, but no, Dirk, he should have broke them off a bit more still, but I hear the mentality. I hear the mentality behind it. You don't pay them everything up. You don't pay them everything up front at once. Cause then, you know, you start flaunting it, start spending it, start making it bait. It's just mad. Let's keep it going though.
And I just paid $1,000 for free DURK t-shirts for the niggas outside the courtroom. I got y'all. But I gotta be honest. The difference with DURK and Von would have passed this bitch out to every nigga in here. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's the difference with DURK and Von. Yo, that nigga DURK brought $1 million, let them all look at it, and gave them nigga 20 bands and said, nigga, it's time to get up on out of here, nigga. Like, yo, it's time to get up on out of here. Like, yo, India, it's time to get up on out of here. Let's go. It's time to go, nigga. Nigga, that's why, everybody keep blaming King Von. But nigga, King Von was a shooter who lucked up and got rich, nigga. He's still moving like a shooter. That's why he just handing money out. Like, King Von was the exact opposite. The nigga brought his money to the hood. Most niggas get the money and leave the hood.
No, big up academics, man, each and every time. But yeah, I just wanted to put that little breakdown at the end, car. I thought it was a bit interesting. Obviously, there's more. Go watch the full video. It's all there, man. Literally, everyone's talking about it. But it's true. Obviously, apparently he didn't get paid, but you're not going to be getting paid like that. Unless, it's Von doing it. Von just passing out bread. You don't care. But no, come on, man. Von's a different animal, bro. He didn't care about nothing. Literally. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below, man. Do you think that DURK's got a chance still? Do you think that Brian's still done his thing? Do you think that he's going to continue to do his thing? Or do you think that DURK is cooked? Let me know your thoughts and all that in the comments below. That's about it from me. I'm out. And I promise when I come around, I'ma shut it down. When I come around, I'ma shut it down. Better than your average, she be something like a savage. Have your nanny on drip, wetter when I'm tapping, go ham when I'm sober. Hammer when the jack can make your body do it, madness, backflips and never back.